Awesome. Hi, everyone. We are just waiting for Instagram to catch up just a little bit, but here we go. It caught up. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this special live Child Life Q&A session. I'm, as always, excited to be here with Annie Gunning, our Hope for HIE Certified Child Life Specialist and Grief Counselor. We're going to dive into a topic that's especially relevant during November because November is Epilepsy Awareness Month. So today we're going to be talking about EEG prep. What to expect, how to prepare your child, strategies for reducing stress throughout the process. So if you are tuning in to learn more about supporting your child through EEG testing, then you are in the right place today. So thank you, Annie, for joining us as always.
Yeah, so happy to be here. Glad to be doing this this month, especially for Epilepsy Awareness Month. So yeah, I have lots of fun stuff here. This is going to be more of a demonstration than our usual Q&A. So yeah, I'm ready to get started.
I love it. We always start the same way, and that's with you telling us who you are, what you do, and the role of a child life specialist, especially within the context of Hope for HIE.
Yes, I am Hope for HIE's virtual child life specialist. So I am here to support all of our families around the world with resources, coping support, education, with procedures, surgeries, tests, diagnosis information, and that includes our siblings as well. So any type of coping support, psychosocial support that I can help families with, help them navigate this medical journey that they're on, that is what I am here to do. So families can reach out and we can do calls virtually. I do some Zooms with families. I do phone calls. We just do email communications. And I've also even done some recently virtual sessions with siblings, just kind of helping them with questions and some worries that they've been having. So yeah, that's what I'm here to do, support all of our families.
I love it. So as we said, it's Epilepsy Awareness Month. So we thought that this would be a very relevant topic for everyone because EEGs are obviously a huge part of a lot of our families' journeys. So if you could just expand a little bit more before you start your demonstration on why is an EEG apparently. Here we go. Should have had 2 cups of coffee today. Why is an EEG prep so important, and why can that be beneficial for children in our community?
Yes, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons we came up to, the reason we decided to do this was there's always so many questions that I see in our community on our different boards and people reaching out that their child's having an EEG. Like, what do I do? What do I expect? How do I help my kid during it? So the reason a prep is important and is so they can understand what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, because the more that they understand and the more they are prepared, that's going to decrease their anxiety and increase their understanding. And that's what we want, increase those positive coping skills. So by going through things and helping them understand the why of it, we have to do it because we need to check your brain, because we need to help make sure your body stays safe and healthy. And this is one of the reasons why we do it. Well, why do we stick those things in your head? Well, that tells us how your brain is working. So just explaining those little things to them, but we're going to do it in a way that's fun, it's interactive, and it gives them the chance to be the one doing it instead of just on the receiving end. And that helps them process, understand. They can ask those questions and then you can clear up those misconceptions, because kids are like, oh, that's going to hurt. What's going to hurt about it? And we can answer those questions and then clear that up for them. Again, decreasing that anxiety so that they understand what's exactly going to happen.
Yeah. And the great thing is, if this is something that you are prepping for in the near future, or it's going to come up eventually, obviously people in our community, they can recruit your help and you can do this virtually. But
Absolutely.
It's always nice to equip families with the knowledge and the know-how to do this on their own too. So I know that you've gathered kind of like common household items that hopefully people have, and that you're going to do a little demonstration for us. So I get to enjoy this because I just get to lay back
Yeah.
and watch you do it. So you can kind of start that whole thing and just kind of talk us through and walk us through the process in your system.
Yes, absolutely. So my idea was to do just things that I would have around your house. Hopefully that our families would have just around your house so that it's easier to do and you can do it a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, whatever would be best for your child. And it does vary depending upon age. If kids have different sensitivities, I've had a little girl that I did this with who was about 3, and we actually started prep with her about 2 weeks in advance, very slowly, just to kind of get her used to the different sensations that she would be feeling. And just randomly, in a playful way, that's non-threatening, that's an environment that she's comfortable with. So that's why it's fun to do this, and it's good to do this at home because it's in their setting, and they can just kind of manipulate it and play with it when they want to. But they're also getting that education piece, which they don't really understand. They don't know. But then when you refer back to it during the test, you're like, remember when we played with that and we talked about it going on your head and how it doesn't hurt? Oh yeah, I remember. It doesn't hurt, does it? And then you can kind of keep going through all of those things. So I will start with,
I'm gonna make you big, so that way I'll remove
Okay.
myself from stage. So when I leave, I didn't abandon you. I'm just off stage.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with just having items that I've gathered like around my house, showing you some of the supplies, and then we can go into how we can incorporate this into a playful way for kids. So I have string, just regular string. If you just have string, twine, whatever you want to use. Bracelet string is good because that's different colors because all the wires are going to be different colored. Or you could try pipe cleaners. So I have a bunch of different colored pipe cleaners. These aren't quite as bendy, but they're wires. And then what I really like using is, I have like my stuff everywhere. I like using yarn. So I have a bunch of different kinds of yarn as well that I use. So I cut those and I usually bring those with me. So any kind of string that you have laying around, if you have different colors, all one color, whatever you want to use. And then for the sticky part that's going to go on their head, you can use stickers, whatever stickers you have. I happen to have these little ones. Sometimes I even cut them into circles, or the kids can if they want to, if they're old enough. You can also just use any kind of Band-Aids. I have a little circle Band-Aid too. Band-Aids, and you can cut these again, making them smaller. It's just to mimic the sticker that's going on their head. I have little pieces of straw that I cut, and this is to put on the end of our wires that we're going to use to plug into my computer or my monitor that I made. What else do I have? Any kind of crayon, marker, colored pencil, because you're going to need those to mark on their head. Toilet paper, because this is going to act as the gauze. So usually after you get all of the electrodes on, they wrap the child's head in gauze or maybe some Coban in the back. But most people, maybe you do have a lot of gauze and Coban around. And if you do, great, you can use that. But everybody has toilet paper, so you can also just use toilet paper, and then they can use a lot of it, and they're not going to be using up supplies. And then this was my monitor. I just grabbed a shoebox, and I happen to have racking, so I just tape that on there. These are the brain waves, or just markers, and they can draw on here, make brain waves. I just made a bunch of holes with scissors. And I'll show you that too. And then I have a stuffed animal or a baby doll. So you can use superheroes, whatever a favorite stuffed animal is. If you have a pet that really lets them, play with them and they don't mind, involve the pet too. And then, of course, you're there with them, so you can kind of practice on one another. This gives them the chance to be the doer and the receiver, which increases that coping. So when I first start and I'm bringing in my dowel, let me move some of my stuff. I apologize. I don't have a big space here that I'm working with. I just kind of focus on sequential sensory information. So focusing on all the senses anytime I'm doing a prep. What are you going to taste, see, hear, feel, and smell? That helps them understand what's happening, and also doing it in a sequential order. So what are we doing first? From the moment we're walking into the door, we're checking in, we're getting the wristband or the name bracelet, we're going back with a tech, we're going into a room, we're going to lay on the bed or the table that they have, or we're going to sit up on it. all those things in the order that it's going to happen. And if you have questions about the specific order, you can always reach out to me, but reach out to the hospital or the facility that you're doing it at, and they can give you that information as well. So before we get started too on all of my stuff and how I'm using it, I also wanted to talk about the distraction, the comfort positions, all those coping things that are needed during this procedure or during this test. Because a lot of families, maybe their baby had it at the very beginning in the NICU or newborn stage, and now they're a toddler, preschool age, young school age, and preschool, they don't like to be held down. They don't want anybody to hold them down. It doesn't matter if it's going to hurt or not. They don't want anybody holding them down. So you can ask to hold them, lay in the bed with them, next to them, hold them this way, maybe hold them this way during application, like when they're cleaning and putting on the electrodes, lay side by side with them, and then bring things with you that maybe they wouldn't normally play at, things to keep their hands busy. So is it Play-Doh that you can play with and mold, Model Magic, those Find It tubes where you can really shake things up and you can look inside. A lot of kids love looking at pictures on your phone of, just past pictures from when they were younger or family members. That has been like a huge hit a lot of times, or a movie or a show that they don't normally get to watch. Of course, books, any kind of music books or seek and find books, things that kind of can keep their attention. So anything like that you think would be comforting to have from home, you can also bring. But also you can inquire about the child life department and the child life specialists they have there at their hospital. So is there going to be a child life specialist on staff that can help us? Do they have supplies that can help us? Do they have some distraction items already that they can bring in? You can ask about things like that as well. So that's for at the hospital. And then for the home version, when you're just playing, we have our baby, and we're going to talk about how your head's going to be really clean. We got to clean, make sure all the soap is off. And then you're going to take the different wires, which is our string. Actually, I'm jumping ahead. Let me back up. We need to use, I forgot this one too. This is just a piece of paper that I cut and I put little numbers on it. It's probably kind of hard to see for our measuring tape, because when you go in, they're going to take this and they're just going to be measuring your head. It's going to wrap around. And after we measure, they're going to use their special crayon that's just for skin, and they're going to make a little mark. And then they might move it, and they're going to measure this way, and they're going to make more marks. And then you're going to practice doing this. It doesn't hurt. Does it hurt? You can try it on your hand. Do you want to try it on me? You can try it on me. It doesn't hurt. We can do it on the baby, and then switch with them. Can I try it on you? Did it hurt? And that's the thing that when you then go into the hospital or the facility, you can, and it starts happening. Remember, we practice this at home. It doesn't hurt. It's the special skin crayon or skin marker. And so letting them practice this on you or the doll or the stuffed animal, it can be really helpful. And then I have Q-tips too. And then I also have some kind of a lotion or hair product, like a conditioner, shampoo, something like that, to mimic the glue. So we talk about how we're going to clean it. And for a couple little kids actually that I've worked with, this part was they did not like this part. They didn't like the Q-tip on them. So we practiced this on her arm for a while. And then she did it on my arm and her mom's arm. And then we would switch, and then we would do it on our heads. And then we would do it on her head. And again, the whole time it doesn't hurt. It feels kind of funny, or it feels soft, or it feels like pushing. We're going to move it around so they can remember and they get familiar with that sensation. So practicing this at different points during the day, or while they're playing, or in the bathtub, just so they become familiar with that sensation, can be really helpful. And then I had some of my little lotion, and I just dip it in my glue. This is my glue. And we talk about how we're going to put it on their head. The glue smells a little bit funny, and have them smell it. What do you think it smells like? It's a little bit stinky, but it doesn't hurt. We're just going to put it on. And so then they're able to do this, and they can put it on however they want. They can keep doing this. Some kids like engaging and playing with one area with one thing more than the other. It's fine. Let them kind of lead that part. And then after we get our lotion on, then we get our electrodes and wires, which are my stickers and my yarn. And then we're just going to start putting them on. We're going to put one there. There's another one. And then we're just going to let them put this on however they want. There's no right or wrong way. Just let them be the one to guide this play and make the choices. So you're just putting little stickers with wires, yarn all over the head. And they can play and they can laugh about it, talk about how it's funny. And maybe the baby looks like they have a rainbow hair or princess hair or, I don't know, like superhero cape once it's all on, like whatever that kind of, whatever that's going to be for you. Whatever your child's interested in, you can make it part of that. And they come up with some pretty funny things. So after you practice that, and then maybe you can lead it to practicing on your hair and practicing on the child's hair and head, and just letting them do it on whoever, the sibling too. Get the siblings involved and let them help and be a part of it too, so that they know what's happening to their brother or sister. And then you can use the toilet paper or gauze or whatever. If you happen to have Coban, great. And you're just going to wrap this around. We're going to wrap it around, and we just wrap it around to keep it all in one place, and we keep it still because we don't want them to come off. It's very important that they stay there. We don't want them moving. And then usually they wrap it up back here too. I don't have quite enough hands to do that, but we could tape that. And then you can always get another piece and you wrap these up as well, because they usually wrap them all up to keep little hands away and keep hands from grabbing. And then they usually think this is very funny and we laugh about it. And if they want to draw on this and color on this just to make it more fun and playful, they can do that too. And the whole time we're just talking about how this doesn't hurt. It's all to help our bodies. And then I'm going to grab my monitor, my computer, which is my box. And I have taped a little piece of a straw or whatever you have at home to the bottom of my string, my wire. And I'm going to plug it in to my computer. So now I'm just going to push it in those holes. So I have other ones too. And then we're just I'm going to plug all my wires into my computer. And sometimes some kids really get into this part and they want to decorate it and they want to pretend there's buttons on it and a camera, and they want to add all kinds of extra things. And the more they want to do, the better. The more they're engaged with it, the better. And then we talk about what happens after that. So you've done all this stuff, none of it hurt. You've been so brave. We've gotten to play while we do this. And if it's different types, some EEGs are different. So sometimes they might make everything dark. So preparing your kids, if it's dark, I'm still going to be there with you. They might do a blinking light or flashing lights. So preparing your child for that's going to be happening. And then they sometimes have them also blow on like a pinwheel or something like that. So there's different things they might have them do. Take big, deep breaths, quick breaths, the lights. I feel like those are kind of the big ones. And then sleeping too. Sometimes they just need them to, after they get everything done, they want them just to take a nap, and they can get everything on the monitor for all of those things. So I think that is everything.
Good job.
Deanna, do you totally know how to play EEG now with your kids?
I do. What's funny is that I'm thinking, and I'm just like, gosh, Dexy would want to do this anyway.
Totally. I mean, that's what like a lot of like the medical play stuff is good to do just for fun, because then if something happens and they are at the hospital for whatever reason, even if it's not for them, they're like, oh, I remember playing with this. And it just kind of decreases that sensitivity, and it just makes them feel more comfortable. And it doesn't seem so scary when we're doing it through play.
Yeah. Honestly, the hardest part is probably just getting the materials together, because everything else it was very that seems like fun and very easy, simple things for these families to do.
And the kids will let you know, like when they're done. Like I've done it with a kid and thinking, oh, we're going to do all of this stuff. And we get like 2 things in and they're done. Like they just need that break, and they tell us that they need that break, and that's okay. We need to let them have that so they can go kind of process stuff, and then we can come back to it later, because it might just be a lot for them to be thinking about especially if they're younger.
And then obviously, when we're doing this with things like dolls or just like even the act of like demonstrating it and playing. I know that lends itself to a certain age group or developmental stage. Now, as kids get a little bit older, how does this process change? Is it less of a demonstration and more of a conversation? Are there still other ways that you can implement what you just did with an older kid?
Yeah, I think so. It definitely becomes less of a demonstration, less of a play. I still like to do a lot of interactive stuff, but if there's a way, I might get materials that are a little bit more realistic
Mm,
and use those, or definitely going to more of the videos and books, and things like that that are a little bit
that makes
more age
sense.
appropriate and that
Yeah.
they can really see stuff. But I would still do it like, but we're going to draw a picture, and now where do you think the electrodes will go, or what do you think that electrode is, and what do you think you can do when they're putting these on? So I think there's
Hmm.
still a lot you can do, and there's still preparation and conversation that needs to happen with the older kids. You just alter it so it's not so much play, because sometimes
Right.
kids are like, I still want to know what is it going to feel like, or what's it going to
Yeah.
smell like they still want to know. Even my older kids, they want to know. They put on that face of like, I got this, it's fine. But
Hmm.
when you really don't know what it is, it can still be scary. Plus, most kids are just afraid in the hospital. Like
Yeah.
it's a, intimidating setting, I should say.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So I know you just mentioned some like books and videos and all these things. And so and we're going to compile a list of resources together, of course, to
Yeah.
share. But just for the purposes of this video right now, what comes to mind? What are recommended resources that you can give our families to help them throughout this process?
Yes, always have resources, books. So I want to show you this one that I have, and I know I've mentioned this before when we've talked about different things for Hope for HIE. This is Charbear Keeps Dancing, which is now Brave Bears Club. So this is their little EEG bear. So this is Waves, and Waves, this has a little backpack with all of um, the little monitor inside. So a lot of kids really like having this and then taking this with them. It's the same thing with the doll. If you do a doll or a stuffed animal, you can take that with you. But they also now have, so this is Waves. They have a new bear. They have a bear called Ripple. That's the sibling bear, which I think is super cute, like ripple effect. And then they have another one. So matching that with the book as far as what is epilepsy, and then they have pictures in here of the Charlotte the bear going to get an EEG, so that can be helpful. And then sometimes just general hospital books too. Like this is one of my favorites, and we'll put this in our resources. But it's a great like lift the flap book, and it has a lot of great pictures that just encourage those questions, I think.
Yeah.
And then we do have two videos that I will attach and that I recommended. One is more of like a short-term EEG that's an outpatient, and then the other one is for the longer term that might be like a 48 or 72 hours. So that's an inpatient one. So they vary a little bit, but they both still give you. They're both from some children's hospitals. No affiliation to them at all. I just liked their videos, and I thought they were helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again for joining us. And as always, we're going to compile key takeaways, a resource that you can download and print off or share to others that you think may need it. And we're just always so grateful to have you, Annie, because these are things and moments in a family's HIE journey that maybe they don't necessarily think about, but can really be beneficial in alleviating some of that anxiety. So we're just grateful
Definitely.
to have you and have you offer your expertise as always.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always here. So families can always reach out if they have that specific question, because this is all very general. So any
Yes.
specific questions, please know that I'm here.
Yep. Just visit hie.support and you can find Annie there, and you can find access to our social worker, so on and so forth. So that's a great place to start. But hopefully this kind of equipped some people with a few ideas and some tools that they can try to implement this at home. But like Annie said, always reach out. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. That's why
Yeah,
she's here.
definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Keep you
Until
busy.
next time, until December's
Yes.
Q&A,
Yes.
we'll see you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.